Hi there, Lloyd Machedo. Speaking to you from LloydMachedo.com. Who's Lloyd Machedo and think of personal branding? All right, I thought I'd give you my thoughts on this question, or rather the statement, the 13 things that I believe no one can predict about the UAE. Now, I also put out a video, 9 reasons why the UAE job market would change, and also 20 reasons why the UAE market, that is the job market, will bounce back. So check the the links in the description below. So let's quickly move on. So what are the 13 things that no one in UAE can actually predict? Now, what happens is in the media, you tend to have always UAE media, you'll always have positive stuff being spoken. UAE is going to launch this, UAE is going to launch that project, UAE is investing into this, UAE has got millions and billions of dollars from this investment. And they would hide the serious negative drawbacks. So that is why you need a balance. You have Al Jazeera, you have Reuters, you have Bloomberg, you have other media outlets that give you the real story. So you balance the yin and the yang. However, even though there are news outlets that give speculation, like those who do not support UAE would always say that UAE is headed towards gloom and doom, and UAE would always say that we are doing very well. Okay. However, these are the 13 things that I firmly predict no one can actually predict. I know, ironical. So the first one among the 13 is Qatar. Okay, now UAE and Qatar's relationship has really gone to the dogs. It has gone back to us with Qatar attacking UAE on something, UAE attacking Qatar on something. Qatar trying to give an underhanded blow, UAE trying to do the same, UAE trying to put software, spyware on the Qatari royals, and Qatar taking preventive measures or for the future by teaming up with allies that do not like UAE. So even though we do know that Qatar and UAE are not going to become brothers and sisters and friends, the one thing that you cannot predict is what would Qatar do? What would Qatar do next? Now, agreed that UAE has Israeli spy intelligence software. They do have, okay? And this has been proved by the Reuters investigative journalists team. They put up these articles and I also spoke about it. However, if I was, let's say somebody was spying on me, I knew that somebody was spying on my phone, on my computer, on everything that I do, and I had to attack my enemy, I would definitely plan out something, but in a way that you'd never catch me. So Qatar and UAE are actually playing this James Bond kind of spy game where each one is trying to outdo the other. So the one thing is there for a fact that neither Qatar knows what UAE is going to do next, and it's trying its level best by putting its spies or trying to figure out, and UAE is also trying to figure out what Qatar is going to do next. But let's be honest here, no one knows what Qatar would do. Okay, no one knows. Okay, and that is scary. I'll tell you that. If I had an enemy who was just next door, I would be, shitting bricks like, what the hell is going to do next? The second one is, this one is kind of like, it's like circus. It's like a soap opera. UAE's relationship with USA and UAE's relationship with the European Union. This has become talking points for the news outlets. Nobody actually knows whether it is going better or whether it's actually going worse. On one hand, you have UAE that is paying money to have its greased regulators and lawmakers support UAE, okay, which is the right thing to do. Most of the countries are doing that, and the game of politics is that I sponsor you, you make sure that you talk good about me. And Abu Dhabi and Dubai both are paying certain people, although it's not officially proved, but if you check the news links that I've given you in my previous videos, it's a proven fact that in the European Union, you have key people in key areas who praise the UAE and who say that UAE is a good thing to happen to the European Union and even United States. But here the question is, given that it's a game of politics, you just don't know when the loyalties will change. You just do not know when the person who's supposed to be in power is no longer in power. Okay? So this is a really tumultuous relationship because it's like I have a friend who I'm taking care of, but at the same time, his loyalties can change. Maybe someone will pay him more, or maybe someone will blackmail him and find out something bad about him, and then he can't support me anymore, or maybe he'll lose his seat of power. So US and the EU, they just, nobody knows whether they will support UAE, whether their policies will still promote UAE, and whether UAE will benefit from having its key people there. The next one is its explicit enemies. Now, its enemies right now, you know, I wouldn't say they are explicit, but they are still there. It's Russia, it's Iran, it's Turkey, and it's China. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, Loy, China is not its enemy. China, UAE got invited. We saw the, sorry, no, we saw Sheikh Mohammed go to China. We saw Sheikh Mohammed, have good relationships with Russia. What you need to keep in mind is when you compare the size of UAE with the size of Russia, UAE is a dot. If you compare UAE's population with the population of China, UAE is nothing. Okay, so China doesn't need UAE. UAE needs China. Russia doesn't need UAE. UAE needs Russia. Okay, now in between you have Turkey and Iran. Turkey is, I don't know which direction it's headed. If you know, please tell me. However, Iran is, it's like a black horse. You do not know how much power it has. And US can keep saying about sanctions and so many other things to Iran. But end of the day, Iran is a very powerful nation, and Russia and China will make sure that Iran doesn't fail. And US knows that. Okay, US knows that. So these Russia, Iran, Turkey, and China, and the reason I put Turkey in between is because of the latest news that came from Jazeera, where Turkey captured a spy of UAE, and they claim that he suicide. We don't know whether it was actually a suicide or whether it was assassination, whatever. So you have these guys who are very powerful, whom UAE needs favors from, but then again, their loyalty, Russia, Iran, China, their loyalty is very strong between, and UAE is not in the good books of Iran. So obviously, if let's say the person who is going to be of greater benefit is obviously Iran for China and Russia. So number three is nobody knows how this would pan out next for UAE. Point number four is these are the countries that send its people to work in UAE. You have India, which is the majority. Like almost anywhere you go in UAE, you'll find an Indian, you'll find Pakistanis, you'll find Bangladeshis, and lately we have been seeing a lot of Sri Lankans, Filipinos quite a lot, and now we have a lot of Africans. Now, what I've noticed is in the previous early days in the 70s and 80s, Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, they came there to make easy money, especially the Indians, especially South Indians, where, if they were earning, let's say 100 in India, they would earn 10,000 in UAE. So many Indians came to UAE. And then obviously Pakistan, obviously Bangladesh, Sri Lankans, so especially the lower category, because the money that they make there is tax-free and they would enjoy more benefits. But what has been happening is because of social media, because of the internet, because of the fact that today news is unfiltered, Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladesh, Sri Lankans, Africans, Filipinos, they have come to know that they get treated like dogs. They get treated like shit. And, the common tendency is, if I can be a boss in my own country, if I can be a guy who earns little, but I'm the king of my own world, why should I give my passport to some guy who treats me like shit? Why should I have the fear that, he is not going to pay me a salary, or he's going to put me in jail and he's going to abuse me? Better than that, I earn half the income and at least I'm, with my family. So we do not know what these countries, these people, this workforce, how they are going to react. Now UAE has, and especially the Middle East countries, have realized, okay, these people are not going to take shit anymore. They're not dying to come to our country, and that is why even if you're an employer, you clearly come to know that it's becoming very hard to get quality employees, quality labor force from these countries, because they just don't want to come. They just don't want to come anymore. Okay, so we do not know how these countries are going to react. In fact, you had Duterte, whatever the Filipino president. It seems a Filipina got abused in UAE, and she got raped, and UAE had put her in jail. And Duterte, he threatened the UAE by saying that I will make sure that all the Filipinos are taken out from UAE, and UAE just released that Filipina because obviously she was innocent. She was just trying to defend herself from her attackers who are trying to rape her. UAE has these Arab countries have this fucked up Sharia law. It should, it's for the animals. Okay, so if you get raped as a woman, you go to jail, not the man. So anyway, we do not know what's going to happen next there. Point number 5 is nobody knows how the other Muslim Arab states are going to react to UAE. Now, UAE is, before the GCC, the OPEC, this conglomerate, these countries, they were united. And that was good. That was really good. But now there are, cracks. You have Qatar one side, you have Iran one other side, you have in between them, they're not sure whether who's their friend or who's their enemy. They do not know how far their friendship will continue. In fact, the biggest shocker was UAE actually teaming up with Israel. Nobody expected that, okay, especially with this Pegasus software to spy on Qatar. So now you have Arab Muslims who do not like Israel, and then you have UAE who is playing I'm a businessman, I make friends with everyone. And then you have Qatar who's saying, you made life miserable for me, I'll show you what I'll do to you. And there's so much going on. So that common ground is missing. So we do not know how these Arab countries are going to fare with each other. We do not know whether that unity is going to last. We do not know if they're going to actually succeed and survive. In fact, the biggest thing is, once upon a time, they were in control because of oil. We just do not know whether oil will play a pivotal role in having them have that egoistic seat of importance, which is no longer there. So that's another big one. Number 6, this one's a really big one. Really, really big one. After Sheikh Zayed of Abu Dhabi died, his son Khalifa, he didn't have that charisma, that presence, that leadership that Zayed had. Everyone knows this. The rumor has it that he was addicted to alcohol, to drugs, to his lifestyle, which is why if you look at his face, his eyes, his eyeballs are sunken. His face is like sagging. He doesn't look like, you look at a normal person who's happy, they look so fresh. Look at a guy who's meditating, eating healthy, and then look at Khalifa's face. I mean, he looks like, a hardcore, like a guy who is into addictive substances. He doesn't look healthy at all. Everyone knows this. It's not me, sharing rumors here. It's a fact. Just look at his face, okay? So Khalifa's leadership was not at all there. Now, after Khalifa, we need to see that other guy. I can't get his name right now. Let's see, how does he do? Now, that is Abu Dhabi. On the other hand, you have Dubai. Dubai is Sheikh Mohammed. Now, you had Sheikh Rashid, who had the incredible leadership, where he built Jabal Ali, where he built World Trade Center. He built Dubai as the foundation, okay? He kept in peace with his neighbors. He was a very wise man. Then you got Mohammed, okay, Sheikh Mohammed, dynamic leader, dynamic, flashy guy, race horses, gambling, women, flashy stuff, largest mall, largest building, largest hotel, largest man-made structure, biggest this, biggest that, expensive, flashy stuff, 1 million projects, and it became very flashy. And he really looked like a leader, and he was everywhere. Now you have his son. His son, Fazal, is more like a pretty boy. He's like a pretty face. He's a poet, he is an athlete, but then nobody knows his leadership style in politics. Nobody knows his business acumen. Nobody knows what is he doing. He's a really pretty face. He's a very cute looking boy. He doesn't look like one of those like aggressive types, Okay, maybe you'll say that, okay, he can be a Mark Zuckerberg. Fine, but Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates or Jack Ma, they didn't have a daddy who had given them everything on a platter. Sheikh Mohammed has given everything on a platter to his son, Fazza. However, what he's giving him is not only everything on a platter, he's giving him a $20 billion loan, 20 billion US dollars. How is Fazza going to take over? In fact, if you actually look at it, Fazza has not actually taken over. He has just these key, um, important positions in different government places, and he comes out once in a while in this newspaper. Okay, he has come out with this decree, this rule, that rule, but nothing so important, nothing so pivotal. In fact, Sheikh Mohammed has not let go of the reins of being the big boss. So, what I look at it as is, does this guy have leadership skills? Is he even leadership? Can he take the country forward? Nobody knows. Nobody has the answer to this. Okay. So that's another one. Number 7 is old habits die hard. Okay. Now, I'll give you simple logic, simple analogy. A snake. You can have a king cobra in the house. You can remove its poison. You can be sweet with it, nice with it, play with it. But a snake is a snake. Its natural tendency is to bite you. Okay? So if tomorrow you have a snake in the house and it bites you, you can't blame the snake. It's the nature of a snake. Same way with these people who keep lions and bears in the house, wild animals. At some point, this animal, it's unpredictable. It might just develop the instinct and just kill you. Same thing with the anacondas or whatever. In the same way, Arab Muslims have a behavior pattern, just as Americans have their way of thinking. Like you say Indian, that's a way of thinking. You say Filipino, that's a way of thinking. Indians, they want discount. Filipinos, they like their dance, their karaoke, their basketball, enjoy life. You think of British, you'll always get the cup of tea and politics and all that stuff. So yeah, I know there is a lot of stereotyping here, okay? But keep in mind, an Arab has his religion deeply rooted in him. The majority, not the few minorities. Islam is being taught to them right from a very young age. They are taught to preserve their culture because they don't want to lose their culture, their tradition. And many of them, they do not like their children going and studying abroad or studying about, transgender, homosexuality being okay, normal. No, there are still so many values and so many systems which are very near and dear to Arab Muslims. So in the same way, there will also be these hidden, conversations that they have. Because an Arab, end of the day, is an Arab. Like an Indian is an Indian. A Pakistani is a Pakistani. Okay? So these old habits, they don't go away. And the sad fact is, the habits of Arabs, one is trying to preserve their culture, try to preserve their religion, the importance of their religion in their lives, and they also have this superiority attitude. They have this insecurity which makes them want to be superior. I'm better than you. Our religion is better than yours, and they always have this. Oh, he's trying to bully me. I need to bully him. So we do not know when this will take over. Okay, that is why no matter how close friends you are with an Arab Muslim, it's unpredictable. Tomorrow, something that if you do or say goes against your religion or goes against your culture or tradition, it'll just backfire. Okay. The next one is UAE. This one also nobody can predict is UAE going to be the target of someone's wrath? Because what UAE is doing now is UAE is taking the road of being a businessman. It's making friendship. It's keeping this new friendship with Israel. So will the ISIS attack UAE? Will a Muslim country like Iran say, you are friends with Israel, I'm going to show you, or what's going to happen? Because UAE keeping a business-like attitude to be a business hub was working out when they had common enemies, but now when that thin line has vanished, you do not know who's your friend, who's your enemy. This also can prove rather dangerous for UAE. The next one is point number 9 is UAE had this habit of forcing people into debt. They would offer free credit cards, easy loans, easy auto loans, and many people, they put them in debt. And this was a smart strategy because once you're in debt, okay, you have to pay the loans off, and that is why when they made a criminal law, many people try to run away. But now the UAE banking system, the UAE's relationship with Interpol, the UAE is taking the strong stance. Like I told you, you can't be smarter than the system. So they're putting their foot down to make sure that if you took a loan or a financial instrument, you can't run away from UAE. You have to pay the money back. So what will they do next now? Let's say I move to UAE. I take a bank loan, personal loan. I take an auto loan. I take a mortgage or something. And obviously they'll relax the rules as Expo 2020 comes out. So now what will happen next? What are the new rules? Do you know what is going to happen? Will they say you can take a loan and still travel to your country? Or will they say, no, you're traveling to your country, you need to keep a collateral, someone's passport? Or would they say that if you move to India and you run away, we'll actually get you back? So this also is a question that not many people can answer. It's a gray area, okay, for many. Point number 10 is UAE, when it started off in the 70s, it was a barren desert. Whatever you'd start there would be a monopolistic company. Like you had World Trade Center, there was only one. You'd start off, let's say, Choitram or let's say Laos, or you start off Lulu hypermarket, monopoly, you'll grow. Al Ghurair Center, shopping mall, monopoly. Hyatt Regency, the Galleria, Al Nasser Leisureland, monopoly. Okay. Every company that started off, it had a perfect environment, a perfect soil, just to grow and be the monopoly. But today, if you start any business in UAE, if you're making even slight amount of money, there are millions and billions of competitors who will just come up. If the Salah was a monopoly, and they keep shouting, oh, we have made profit and all, you made profit because you're a fucking monopoly. But today, if you start up a business, you'll have enough and more competitors. So UAE has reached its peak, just like Coca-Cola has reached its peak, Pepsi has reached its peak, Apple has reached its peak, Samsung has reached its peak. If they improve their market share, maybe 5%, maybe 3%, you need to be realistic. It's not going to be from 0 to 80% growth. No. So UAE has reached that peak. Like Facebook has reached its peak, Apple has reached its peak, iPhone sales, whatever. So now what will UAE do next? It said, okay, you can buy property 99 years, which was lies. Okay, you'll get visa, which was lies for 99 years. Now they're making these new rules, investor visa or freehold property, still gray areas. So lies and speculation don't work because social media is very strong now. You have many people talking. You have blogs, you have videos like mine where people actually share inside information. So what's next? Nobody knows. Nobody knows, not even the UAE leadership. Okay. Number 11, Expo 2020. Neither you, nor I, nor the leadership, nobody knows whether Expo 2020 is going to be a success or failure. UAE government will say it's a grand success. And I'm pretty sure after Expo 2020, they'll advertise it is a grand success. We got billions of dollars. The people who are working there have a different story. The pessimists or the people who are realists, they say, show me audited financials. Then you'll get the other side, they'll say, this is bullshit. Who knows whether Expo 2020 is going to be a success? But here's the thing. If you check the history of Expo, the countries, I want you to check my previous video where I made an analogy of all the expos that took place. Only China was the one that survived, or could say Expo 2020 became a profit. Italy, I think it was Greece, Spain, all these other countries, Paris, they all crashed and burned. They didn't make profit. It became a bloody loss. What do you do with the big structures? What do you do with the big stadiums? What do you do with the all those promises that you made? What do you do when all the people leave and go? So nobody knows whether Expo 2020 is going to be a success. The chances are greater chances for failure, but then again, we don't know whether it's going to be a success. And mind you, if any problem in the Middle East takes place, any problem, it's going to be a disaster. And right now, when you're having the recession, Expo 20 doesn't look very optimistic, at least. Then point number 12 is post Expo 2020. How is it going to affect UAE? They are saying billions of dollars are going to come in. So obviously, they'll have a lot of money to invest. I look at it as after all the people go, what are you going to do next? How are you going to impress people? What are you going to do with all the structures, empty places, empty buildings? How are you going to keep employing those jobs, temporary jobs? How are you going to keep them? So post Expo 28, nobody knows. And last, if not the least, the final thing that nobody can predict. Once upon a time, you would go to UAE to earn tax-free money. Today, the question is, why should you go to the UAE to work? Why? There's no future. They don't offer citizenship. There are most of the companies that take your passport away from you so you can't travel. If you have a loan and you lose your job, you can't leave the country. The experience that you have in UAE is not recognized back home, which everyone knows. So if you go to UAE, you get stuck in UAE as that temporary land where you just can't escape. So if you're looking for a future, do you actually go to the UAE? Everyone still thinks, I can go to UAE, make money for 5 years and get out. No, you can't. That quick buck making days are over. So the big question is, why should you go to UAE? This also, nobody can answer. Once upon a time, it was tax-free. But then you had hidden charges like Saleh, parking fines, hospital bills. Even the hospitals, you pay a fortune. And that is why in my previous video, I spoke about the Indian government gave a warning to any of the tourists who go to UAE. Please make sure that you have medical insurance because they're at sky high. So why do you go to UAE to work? Especially when local has more power over you, where you're a slave to the system. You can't make easy money anymore, where the lifestyle is more expensive. So why? So these are the 13 reasons or 13 things that nobody can predict about the UAE. I don't know if you have an answer to them. If you do, I'd love to read it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do let me know in the comment section below if you know the answers to any of these 13 things. Because as far as I know, as far as the research I've done, I don't think there is anybody who can predict any of these things that will happen in the UAE. So this is Lloyd from Machedo.com, who's Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you. This is me saying goodbye for now. Take care.